Welcome to the very first episode of World's Nighttime Stories. My name is Manuel. I'm from Mexico, a place full of legends, whispers, and stories that walk between light and shadow. But no matter where we're from, here is something that connects us all. To remind us that in darkness, we're not so different. So tonight, I invite you to open your mind, listen closely, and let you bring us together as you let yourself be surrounded by the dense mist of world's nighttime story. Hi Manuel, thank you for reading my story. My name is Sergio, and I'm from Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. It borders Brownsville, Texas. Matamoros is a city that many people associate with violence, drug trafficking, and perhaps, if you're old enough, also with its narco-satanic cult discovered during the nights. My story, thank God, isn't anywhere near as dark as those events, but it did leave a mark on me. I was studying my university degree when everything I'm about to tell you happened. In Mexico, it's very common for students to live with their parents while in college. So, as you can imagine, I was living in a nice rented house with my mom and my brother. My brother was studying medicine, and since he was in the later years of his program, he spent most of his time doing hospital shifts. That meant I was usually home alone. I was studying engineering at a private university, which gave me a lot of free time. In the evenings, I'd work out, hang out with the classmates, or play soccer with my neighbors. Two brothers about my age who live with their mom. After months of friendly evenings, the brothers once told me something strange. They said that before my family moved in, two young women, around their 30s, used to live in that same house. They were always picked up by suspicious looking trucks and cars. And if you live in Latin America, you probably know what that implies. Cartel connections. It wasn't something we could prove, of course, but seeing those women doing nothing all day, coming home very late every night, and being visited by the same fancy vehicles, well, it didn't leave much to the imagination. At first, I didn't care much. It wasn't my business. Until my neighbors mentioned something else. They said the woman had kept an altar to Santa Muerte, or Holy Death in English. That detail stuck in my head. Around that time, I had already started seeing shadows at night before falling asleep, but I didn't think much of it. Nothing serious or threatening had ever happened to me. Not yet, at least. We lived in that house for about 3 years. Over time, the strange activity began to increase. I started feeling constantly tired, and I fell into afternoon naps almost every day. During those naps, between dreams, I'd see the figure of a child standing by my bedroom door. At night, I began hearing noises in the laundry hall, specifically the sound of coins bouncing on the floor. It sounded like they were falling from a table that ran across the hall, hitting the ground near the washer and dryer. At first, I thought it might be a rat or a mouse, but it kept happening. Soon, I started hearing those same sounds, coins, but not coming from the rooftop. Those nights, I had terrible nightmares and frequent sleep paralysis. One night, when my brother was at the hospital for his shift, I went to bed early. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to a tickle feeling on my leg. And when I lifted the blanket, I froze. Two large house spiders were crawling on me. The kind of big brown hairy ones, not quite tarantulas, close. I jumped out of the bed and saw two more on the floor heading toward the closet. I panicked first, but then frustration took over. I mean, I was exhausted. I just wanted to sleep. My mom ran downstairs to check on me, and when I told her what happened, we decided to sleep in my brother's room. But as soon as we opened his door and turned on the light, we both froze. There were five big spiders in there, one on the chair, three on the walls and ceiling, and another one sitting right on the pillow. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I called pest control. They sprayed the whole house. Everything was fine for a few weeks. Then, one night, after another one of my recurring dreams where I fought against an invisible entity, I woke up around 3 a.m. and saw the biggest spider I had ever seen. It looked like a tarantula. At first, I didn't recognize the spider. I thought it was just a shadow lying across the Christ on my crucifix. But then, it moved. It's hard to describe, but in that moment, every fear, every nightmare, all the fear combined came rushing back. The sounds of the coins, the shadows standing by my door, and seeing that spider above the Christ, as if mocking it, struck a nerve deep inside me. So, in my recurring dreams, I always felt that invisible entity, yelling at it to leave my house and my family alone. Maybe that night, when it took the form of the spider, it was its way of saying it wasn't going anywhere. Thank you for listening, Manuel. Maybe it's not the scary story you've heard, but it's real. Sometimes fear isn't there to harm us, but to remind us that something beyond our understanding still exists. Maybe it's not about escaping the unknown, maybe it's about learning to listen to it. Thank you for joining me tonight and for being part of this very first episode of World's Nighttime Stories. If you enjoyed what you've heard, make sure to follow and subscribe on social media and share your own story, because the next voice we hear in the dark will be yours. Until next time, keep your light low and your mind open. Good night.